Welcome and thank you for joining us for the informational session with Emerging Digital Academy. My name is Blaine Boer. I'm the program director, and you can find out more information at our website, emergingacademy.org, or feel free to contact me directly. hello@emergingacademy.org. We are a software engineering bootcamp in Fargo, North Dakota, and our program kicked off our inaugural cohort in April 2020. So what is the problem that EDA is attempting to solve? In general, what we're hoping to do is train folks to get into entry-level software development jobs as quickly as possible. In North Dakota, which has one of the lowest unemployment rates in the country, 2.4% prior to April of 2020, there is a industry-relevant skills gap in the software industry, which means that the folks coming into the industry, either through universities or moving here from out of state, certainly make up a good portion of the labor market, but we have hundreds of jobs that still go unfilled every year. And so what we're trying to do is come up with a path for folks to get into that industry as quickly as possible. So we are a coding bootcamp, the first in the state. We are licensed as a career training program through the state of North Dakota. We are also operating as a nonprofit, which is unique in this space, in the sense that most coding boot camps across the country do not operate under a nonprofit model. And our big focus is the 20-week immersive software engineering program. What we do, or what our goal with that program is to essentially train junior software developers. So get folks ready for the entry-level positions that are here in the state. And one of the things that makes us the most unique, especially compared to other programs across the country, is that we work directly with employers here in the state, and we consider our employer network, which is ultimately the employers that we work with as part of our program, to be essentially the most important part of this program. And it allows our students to get placed in industry and allows us to get feedback on our curriculum as quickly as possible. And so North Dakota being such a small state, population-wise, our employer network really is essentially every software employer in the state. That's our ultimate goal. So how do you become a software developer? Well, that's a great question. Traditionally, option number one here is a great path. That's the kind of the traditional educational path, a bachelor's degree of computer science. Takes 4 to 5 years. Is a great path. It's expensive, but if you're able to go that route, that certainly represents the majority. About 55 to 60% of professionals in the software development field come from this background. Another example of how to become a software developer is to essentially do on-the-job training with a company that you work for. And so this is maybe you're working in a different area and you start to study software development as part of your auxiliary duties, but end up becoming a software developer over time, and that's pretty common as well, either with or without a traditional educational background. And then the third way is self-taught with online resources, and so this typically can take 12 to 18 months of focused study, but certainly we know that this works. Tons of folks in the field are self-taught or come with varied backgrounds and pick up software along the way. So what a coding bootcamp is essentially a deep dive into a specific set of technologies with the goal of preparing you to apply for jobs by the end of the program. And so most of these programs there's dozens and dozens of these programs, maybe about 100 across the country, and the top 50% of them are very competitive. A lot of them provide paths for employment into some of the larger tech markets in the country, and our goal, of course, is to be as competitive with some of the best in the country. That's how we've built our program here. But the whole point is that it provides a structure, discipline, and environment for accelerated learning. And our ultimate goal is to provide an environment that simulates or emulates the first 6 months working at a software company. That's where you're going to be really working as a group, studying software engineering in a collaborative environment, working through practical software tools, building projects, and really hitting the stride of the working professional, and someone that can hit the ground running at a company. Prime Digital Academy is our curriculum partner, and so as a new program, certainly we want to make sure that we have the best possible curriculum and the best chance for success for our students. So we've partnered with Prime. Their co-founder is from North Dakota and is really excited to see this program come to the state. Fargo is a smaller market than Minneapolis, where Prime is based, and so we chose to create our own organization and build around the nonprofit model with to serve our mission and our community outreach efforts. Prime has been operating for 5 years. They have actually now over 1,000 alumni working in industry. 86% of their alumni of their students are placed within industry within 6 months. And the most important thing about their model is essentially their curriculum is updated to stay as relevant to industry as possible. And so all of that is part of the attraction for us to work with Prime. And so our entire program is based on Prime's curriculum. Full Stack Engineering is the name of our program, which is built around the program of the same name out of Prime. Our focus is really the small class size, typically around 15 students or so, 15 to 20. It's a 20-week commitment up to 60 hours a week for the last 14 weeks, which we'll talk about shortly. And every 4 months there's a new cohort, so you don't need to feel like you're missing out if you don't make the deadline for the upcoming one. Our current cohort, I'm recording this in April 23rd, 2020, and our first cohort's in its 3rd week, and we have another cohort that starts at the end of July and then in November, and so every 4 months there's a new cohort that starts. The program tuition is $15,500, and we have some financing options available that we'll talk about in a little bit as well. So if you're considering our program, what is it that we look for in our prospective students? Most of our students are going to be post-college or post-high school especially, and often will be older than average. That's just a term that higher education uses to identify students that don't meet the traditional demographic of just right out of high school. This is a career training program, and so what that means is that we want to see that students have a hunger for personal and career growth, are really interested in web tech, because after all, web technology is fast changing. It is a very specific kind of software development, and so we like to see students who know that this is something that they want to get into. This is a collaborative and social learning environment, so we like to see that a potential student is ready for that social experience. If you want to do this on your own, there's plenty of online resources that you can start today, and so this is very much a work as a team environment. Then continuing on, we have we like to see proficiency in technical learning and research, and essentially be able to see that students are able to work on their own, work through problems, sit down and really study. And so all of this kind of comes together in the admissions process. What this program is, it's a skills-based career training program. It's a serious commitment. It's fast-paced, and at the end of the day, we are really trying to do connections to local employers. And we are really focused on a specific set of web app development technologies. This isn't a computer science program. This is not a degree or credit program. This is really for students who are ready to hit the ground running. This is not for students who are not ready to be professional or aren't ready to basically work in a professional environment. And also, while we do touch on some of the theory and algorithms of computer science, this is very much not a this is very much fully practical application of software development, not so much theory. And so it's important to distinguish. The program is built out into 3 tiers, and essentially tiers 2 and 3 are the meat of the program, full time in the classroom, and tier 1 is kind of like a part-time, 20 hours a week or so, getting students ready for the full-time experience. So if you have some experience coding already, then this will be some new stuff and some review. If you have no experience yet, that's okay. This will be a bit more of a time commitment for you as you get up to speed. But the point is that everyone hits the ground running in Tier 2. Have a shared experience, and we're able to work through that, through the kind of the fundamental concepts of computer science and programming. Tier 1 is also at your own schedule, and so while you would likely focus on this full-time without another job in Tiers 2 and 3, Tiers 1 students often continue working and saving up, as well as work on the material at their own schedule. Tier 1, which is the part-time component of this program. Essentially, we talk about programming concepts, web fundamentals, and we have a flexible schedule. So we meet once a week for a video chat. We have a weekly discussion question and weekly homework, and then students consume the material at their own pace. Tier 2, this is where we really get into a lot of the front-end and back-end technologies, database design, full-stack JavaScript. We also do weekly guest speakers, technical lectures, and so this is really, you're living and breathing this stuff, and really most of the learning happens during Tier 2. Most of the technical learning, I should say. And then Tier 3, we do the solo project, where each student is required to build a web application from the ground up in order to pass to the next part, which is the client project, where we scope a project from the community, and students as a group work on the scoping, the proposal, implementation, presentation, and ultimately passing it off. We also do Career Day, where students present their projects and work with employers to do kind of like a speed dating round of interviews. And we practice public speaking, we do professional development. So Tier 3 is really all about getting students that practical experience as well as getting them ready for the job search. We have several options for paying for EDA. Certainly students that are able to self-finance, they receive a $500 discount. We work with a company called Climb to do student loans that can provide financing for the program, as well as we do an income share arrangement as well, which is an option that the student commits to paying back a portion of their income over the next 3 years after graduation, assuming that they get a job paying above a certain amount. And so for more information on that program, feel free to contact me. And then the tuition is broken up into 2 payments. You have a $1,500 down payment that's due to secure your seat, with the remainder, minus scholarships and discounts, due at the beginning of Tier 2, which is week 7. We do have scholarships available through our community partners, typically in the range of $1,500 to $3,000. Students can apply for those after they are accepted to the program, and hopefully over time we'll see those scholarship programs continue to grow. Applying to Emerging Digital Academy is free. It always will be. There's no application fee or anything like that. You can apply at emergingacademy.org, and you do not need to have financing figured out. So we encourage students to apply now and figure out the financing. With us, we'll help you figure that out once you're accepted. The process can take up to 10 hours because there's essentially what you could look at as your first homework assignment. We ask that students complete a technical challenge, which involves submitting their resume in HTML and CSS. And this is our way to see basically how a student can learn, can work through a hard problem, and ultimately consume and follow directions to complete what really amounts to the first project of the program. And so most students find that to be a little intimidating at first, and then once they get through it, they realize it's not too big of a deal. And so we provide all the resources and links for that as part of the application process. Here's kind of what the admissions itself looks like. You've got the website to do a general kind of demographic information to help us connect you with scholarship opportunities, an essay-style personal profile questions, so you can tell us a little bit about your professional and personal goals and what you'd like to accomplish with the program. Logic test to test reasoning and logic skills, technical challenge, and finally the submission. And so this is again, this is from our website, free to apply, and we look forward to seeing those applications. Website is available here at emergingacademy.org. You can read all about it, especially here at our full stack program that covers upcoming deadlines, the whole process, more information on our curriculum, and information on financing. And let's see, I believe, could click on that thing. I believe that's it. So thank you so much, and then I'll open the floor for some questions that you will not be able to hear, but I will repeat them as part of this. The question is, how much experience do I need to complete the admissions application technical challenge, and what do I need to know to prepare? The answer is you don't need any experience to complete that, although it certainly is a challenge. There are some great resources available online, Free Code Camp, Khan Academy, Udemy, but we do provide links in the technical challenge so that you can take a free online class. It takes a couple hours to get through if you do the whole thing, and then you can use that to build your resume. We also do free HTML and CSS workshops, and you can come and learn more about some of those technologies there, and you can check our website for more information on those. So the question is, what are the advantages of EDA joining our program compared to one of the other programs across the country, like, for example, New Jersey, something like that? The biggest advantage of our program here is that we are, first of all, the only program in North Dakota, and second of all, we are really the only program of its kind that not only has a connection to North Dakota, but really wants to see students that come from North Dakota basically be successful. We care about our community. We care about connecting students with opportunities here in the state. We also really basically that is the main advantage, is that we are operating in the community that we seek to employ our students in, and have very personal connections, especially through our organization Emerging Prairie. That's who operates Emerging Digital Academy. Emerging Prairie is responsible for various conferences, networking, and entrepreneurial ecosystem and community building. And so all of that is part of our mission, essentially connecting folks with the great resources and opportunities here in North Dakota. We just started our first class 3 weeks ago. How's that class going? So far, so good. We've got 13 students in our first class. And they're doing great. It's great, to see every week students are picking up, the lessons and submitting the homework. They're writing their first lines of code, and getting ready for the full-time experience. And so that's been really, really fun to see so far. And I've got a lot of enthusiasm as we work through, the program. And of course, it's our first run, so. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff. So if you're interested, you can check out the website online, sign up for free to begin the application process. There's a live chat that goes right to one of our admissions staff members, oftentimes me, and you can do hello@emergingacademy.org if you have any questions. Feel free to check out our workshops and maybe one of our in-person informational sessions once the current COVID-19 quarantine is wrapped up. Who knows, right? But hopefully sometime later this year. Any other questions, Mr. Lee? All right, great. Well, thank you so much, and hope to see you soon.